Greetings and welcome to the Mount Rushmore podcast. I'm Jeff, and as always, I'm here with these good-looking guys who've got really great smiles. Richard
Hello.
and Michael.
Howdy.
Hey, smile, you guys, smile. You look better when you smile. This episode is the Mount Rushmore of Smiles. Who thought of it?
This is one of mine, and I'll tell you the origin story. And Richard, I don't think that this guy who made me think of it will be on your list, so I'm going to throw it out there. So a number of weeks ago, Emily and I were watching a movie from the 90s called Disclosure, and that's a kind of a Michael Crichton based movie based on one of his books. And in the movie, the CEO of whatever kind of dinky Michael Crichton like tech company, Megacon or CompuCom or whatever it was, is Donald Sutherland. And Donald Sutherland has this amazing, like weird, like chipmunk kind of rodent smile that I just love. It was just like, it's like real small, and like his lip comes down, and he kind of looks like he's like this little mouse that has gotten away with like the piece of cheese when the trap has fallen. And I was like, oh my God, I think he's got such an incredible smile. And Emmy's like, you're insane. You're so stupid. And I was like, well, okay, so we started, just talking about it a little bit. And I was like, I kept coming back to like, I don't know. It's like he knows something. What a great smile. So that was the origin story of why I started thinking about this. But my list is wildly different now.
Okay. All right. Well,
Awesome.
Michael, you thought of it. Richard, you start.
All right, my first choice is the Mona Lisa.
Also on my list. That was
Has to be on the list.
No
The most
brainer.
famous.
Okay.
Yeah, this is. We might as well just skip it and go on to Michael's next pick or whatever. I don't even know how much we need to talk about this. No, it's the most famous iconic smile in human history, and it's not really even that much of a smile. It's more. I was almost thrown off because in our Facebook chat that we have about topics, Michael said something about no grins.
No. When I was
The types of grins.
it was just like, like if sometimes we can kind of be like jerks on here, and then if the topic last week was like American rock. If Jeff had said American rock at the start of the show instead of American rock band, I would have said like, obviously Granite. That's what I mean is that what I meant with that post was that like not like a type of smile, but just like
Yes.
So I was a little concerned about
Grimace.
it because it's not a big toothy smile.
Mm-hmm.
No,
it's this very sly kind of grin, like she's in on some sort of joke that she's in with Da Vinci, and maybe nobody else is in on it.
Yeah,
which is, look, that's one of the big reasons why the painting is so iconic, and her smile is a thing. Is the fact that it is mysterious and you don't quite know what this is not your usual someone posing for a portrait and has like this trying to put on the most winning smile possible, turning on the charm to 10 plus because they know they're having their portrait painted. There's something else you think possibly going on in the portrait with her smile specifically. And that's what makes it so interesting.
Is that where you chose it, Michael?
Exactly right. I mean, I think because it probably is the most famous or the most talked about or the most, there's something knowing about it that you don't know, you'll never know. I think like Richard said, it's this mystery. It's a mystery smile. It's something that is, and also it's what now 600 years old, 500, 600 years old, this painting. And it still kind of captures this moment, maybe because it's passed down or talked about through song or movie references or it is just this kind of hallowed thing. And it has been kept this hallowed thing. It's the most famous painting in the world, or probably will be for a long time. It's probably the most protected painting in the world. Obviously, it wasn't always that way, but has become this sort of this image or this cherished thing, that now it's behind 6 inches of protective glass, and I'm sure has a lot of other fail safes to protect a painting about a girl with a slight smile. Just it's just one of those things that like I you can't really explain it to like an alien civilization. It's certainly not anything. It's like this is the one. This is the thing that you're gonna all rally around as this thing, and you're just like, yeah, well, I guess you got to be kind of human. You gotta you gotta
Here it
be
is.
one of us to know why this thing is and continues to be and has been like so cherished.
Yeah, here it is, the pinnacle of human art achievement.
Yeah.
Painting of a woman.
Yeah.
Funny, our podcast, I think we're trying to find the best, ostensibly the best or the most representative thing. It seems like we usually come up with the most Far Side version of something. Like that would be, if there was a painter in the Far Side, it would be the Mona Lisa. It would be the Far Side probably uses this as an inside reference that everybody knows what they're talking about. It seems like when we talk about Draculas or cavemen or horses or whatever, there's always as Jim Larson would have rendered it. I also wonder, you were talking about, Richard, like, was it at that time a pretty damn big smile? Because people were miserable back then. Everybody had gout by the time they were 20. Was that about as good as somebody's going to muster?
I wonder if people who saw the painting right after it was made, was like, what's she smiling so much about?
Yeah.
What's so good in her life?
Yo, ML. Dial it back, ML.
I see three in a quick search. 3 Far Side Gary Larson cartoons. First, with a bunch of Mona Lisas, and it says 16th century Mona wannabes. One Far Side gallery cover with a cow as the Mona Lisa, and then one with Leonardo painting the Mona Lisa with a dog, questioning how great a master he could be. So he's covered it all.
He's got it covered. Okay, all right.
I wonder too if that is another thing that like aliens could not understand. They came down from Earth, or maybe or like Chat GPT or some sort of AI. Just like it's like Homer Simpson. I don't get it. Here. I don't get it. I don't get it.
Absolutely. Okay. Well, what's your second choice, Michael Winfield?
My second choice is Julia Roberts. And
also on my list.
Okay, we feel very. I think we're smiling in the same direction, and I think that she has a very big mouth, but proportionately big to her personality and her face. It doesn't look like abnormal the way that like Bruce Spence's mouth looked in like Return of the King, when he was like the mouth of Sauron and it was CGI'd like 1 and 3/4 times too big, where it's just dominating. She just has this amazing, like when you think of like this movie star sort of smile, this big mouth, big teeth, very pleasant. Everything about it, I think, is just like when you think of like a movie star smile, starlet, whatever you want to categorize it. And I think that she just has that sort of that aspect of her as a performer, be it only just her looks, I think is just very iconic. And that was like the very after Mona Lisa, which is the very first thing I thought of, was just like, oh my, this is when you think of big smiles, you think of, and it's like the opposite. It's the exact opposite of the Mona Lisa. It isn't sly. It is just big and grand and happy. And like, okay, well, you can tell this person a joke and the smile is going to take up the entire room,
Yeah, I went for it on sheer volume pretty much as well. I mean, I think you're getting more smile for your dollar with Julia Roberts than just about everybody else. But to Michael's point, it's proportional for some reason. It works. It's not too much teeth, even though it's
why is it when
it's not like Maria Shriver or anything like that.
Eric Roberts has pretty much the same smile, but when he smiles, it's kind of like scary. It's kind of like
no, I got like
because he sharpens his teeth to a point.
Oh, he does. Okay.
That's why.
Okay. All right. So, guess who's at halftime?
Now we got here quick.
Yeah.
Like we just started.
So there's probably, if you go to the website or just search in your podcast aggregator, you're going to find probably different episodes about different parts of the body. So head to toe, we have you covered here at the Mount Rushmore podcast. I'm sure we got something about necks, probably something about the thoraxes or like the xiphoid processes, and then I think we have definitely have a torso episode in there somewhere. The Mount
Well, I'm
Rushmore of pelvises.
You
Elvis
know, I know
was one. We won that one.
I know we're like halfway. I know we're like halfway through, but Jeff, no pic. Like last week, you were so quick to throw up pictures of all these different things that we've been choosing. If you're watching like the YouTube version of it, nothing this week. The one
Yeah.
visual. Sometime we talk about a visual component, and Jeff, nothing. Love it.
I'm in the office. I'm at my office. I'm normally home.
The office
maybe
starts searching for like Eric Roberts' smile, and they're like, I don't know what he's doing.
Maybe in the edit I can probably add. Maybe I can add him in.
He's using the company Shutterstock account to find royalty-free photos of Eric Roberts. Yeah.
So we got a good knees episode. Something about calves. I think early 2017. I think we did something about calves, and then feet. Probably later this year, we'll try to do that. So we want to.
That's going to be very, very, very well received and for SEO purposes. The Mount Rushmore.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. Milton Bradley, brought to you by Operation the Game. Yeah. Okay, so now we're back, and Richard's going to tell us what his third choice is.
My third choice is Irvin Magic Johnson.
Oh, super.
Super
choice, Richard.
Maybe the first celebrity that I could think of I remember as a kid, where I remember hearing the phrase "a smile that lights up a room." Just somebody who kind of came into basketball and was immediately one of the most popular players in the NBA. Yes, because he was amazing on the court. He was 6'9" and he played point guard and could do these things with the basketball that nobody his size had ever really done before, and did it with so much flair. But a lot of that had to do with just his personality and how gregarious and seemingly fun-loving he was, and just had this $1 million smile, so to speak. And that's something that has served him well throughout his playing career, now his non-playing career. You know, I remember when he announced that he was HIV positive, and I think we've talked about this on the show. That was I was a big Lakers fan. That was a really devastating day for me. But even throughout making this horrible announcement, he was still found a way to give smiles, and it kind of made you feel a little bit better. Like, hey, maybe everything's going to be okay. And fortunately, things have been okay. And, you know, he's someone who's been a celebrity for, 40 some years now. And it's hard to think of people with a warmer smile than Magic Johnson.
Absolutely. Yeah. Even in the NBA, I wonder.
Yeah, I mean, we were coming off of an era in the NBA. It's important for people who don't know NBA history that in the 70s, there were drug scandals, things. It was a lot more roughhousing and fighting than you had today. It was just considered to be kind of a dark time for the NBA. So him and Larry Bird kind of come out of college at the same time, and Larry Bird's got this kind of hayseed sort of appeal to him, and Magic Johnson has this very warm, outgoing, somebody that you want to be associated with immediately, and it helps to elevate the NBA not just on the court but off the court, and really did wonders for the marketing of the NBA and being able to turn. I mean, NBA finals weren't even being shown live on network television before Magic Johnson. They were shown on tape delay, like late night half the time. So he, his sort of force of personality, kind of cult of personality, is this warm, winning smile that he had, and way about him that just always seemed to be laughing and having a great time, whether it was on the court or off the court, made you want to be interested in the NBA. And Magic Johnson's personality is probably a big reason why I started watching the Lakers in the first place and started really caring about the NBA.
That's a fun choice. Okay, Winfield, what's your third choice?
My third choice is Tim Curry.
Oh yeah.
And
There
I
we
think
go.
because he has this kind of dual nature of like this smile that goes along with him. He can have a really big, Julia Roberts type smile, like
Mhm.
is kind of seen in, Rocky Horror, or when he's kind of more. I mean, I guess Dr. Frankenfurter was the villain in that as well. But when he's playing something a little bit more devious, he has like this very like almost pinched, almost like the Grinch like smile that can curl up around as if like his face is split in two, and it's
Mhm.
like it goes all the way up from like the bottom of his lip all the way to to the sides of his nose, and he's just like he just has this amazing ability, I think, as to like transform like his face from being very he can be very, very dour looking into being something very devious or very big. He's got like just such wonderful control over that type of like what you're putting out as like as what a smile can convey. It conveys not only like happiness and dryness and something secret, but also something like evil. Like he's just got such a great evil smile going on, and I don't know if uh like the like his sort of like Grinch like smile comes out of it's I think that's the one of the interesting things about this is like these smiles are that people have are develop naturally over time. You smile how you smile. You smile how you smile, and it's just like, oh, he can. At some point, he looked in the mirror as a kid or a teenager or whatever. He's like, oh, I can do this really gruesome this thing, and like it's just like an aspect of his personality, and
Mhm.
or at least as he can portray himself as a character, or whatever. And
Mhm.
I don't know, when I was thinking of types of smiles, it was definitely I thought, oh, I thought the Grinch. And then I was like, oh, but who else? There's a human out there that looks like a Grinch too, and it's definitely well, not Jim Carrey, but
Ah,
Tim Curry. You know,
uh-huh. That's funny. I think with starting with Mona Lisa, it seems like the secret is what people think the smile is a key to, and I always wonder, like, are
Mm.
smiles just these kind of curtains that reveal and conceal your teeth, this thing that's going to bite you, or is it like it almost seems like this thing that reveals or conceals this secret? I feel like Julie Roberts is like, she's kind of revealing that she doesn't have any secrets to keep from you. She's happy just to pull you into her friendship. But it seems like Tim Curry, especially Dr. Frankenfurter, or It, or
Right.
the Devil in Legend, or Butler, all seems to have these kind of like these unspoken things that they're definitely choosing not to reveal at that moment, but they could come out to bite you. So that's a fun choice. All right, Manfredi, what's your fourth?
I have two options here, and they're both really good. So I gotta,
Uh-oh.
Oh,
I gotta make a call here, and I am going to go with David Letterman.
No.
oh, okay.
The gap tooth grin, so to
Yeah.
speak,
There you
a
go.
very Alfred E. Newman looking grin.
Oh, I should have gone with Alfred E. Newman. Oh, go
Yeah, you
ahead.
should have. And more than anything else, just kind of a smile that I think could best be described as, pardon my French, a shit-eating grin.
Yeah.
That sort of sets the tone for what a David Letterman show is going to be like. Kind
Mm.
of letting you know in the audience that, hey, I'm in on the joke too, and this all ridiculous. The fact that I'm interviewing this celebrity and we're talking about nonsense, and I'm gonna give you this. I'm gonna throw out a completely random, question that has nothing to do with anything. Then I'm gonna give this big grin to let you know, hey, isn't it funny that I'm screwing up this interview and making this poor celebrity uncomfortable,
Mhm.
or whatever it is that he happens to be doing. It's kind of his grin kind of became a symbol of the anarchy of the show, and whether it was late night or whatever version of it that he was on, it was kind of this sort of like signal to the audience that, hey, I'm not taking this seriously. I'm being sarcastic about this. You shouldn't take this too seriously either.
Was it
And so that's why I
because
chose
he didn't get his teeth fixed as some people in Hollywood might have? It almost seemed like the the rotten kid in the neighborhood, like the Dennis the Menace, was now hosting the show. You know?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It didn't feel like a polished. It didn't feel like Johnny Carson was hosting the show.
Yeah.
You know, a polished celebrity who's kind of
Mhm.
looks the part, it acts the part, and someone whose job is to make the other celebrities that are on the show feel very comfortable and able to perform their best. Letterman wanted to make the celebrities he had on the show a lot of times uncomfortable
Mhm.
and get them out of their comfort zone and see what happens if I ask them a really uncomfortable or strange question.
Yeah.
And I think the smile that he would give as he was doing that, I think was a big part of the shtick, so to speak.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah, it's a fun choice. Yeah. I think, now he's got this, Methuselah kind of beard. He's on Netflix,
Right.
and he's kinda doing this victory lap where he's the, uh, grand old man, but he was essentially a punk rock comedy icon for, 15 years at least of his beginning of his career. Yeah.
Yeah,
Thumbing
I
his
mean,
nose at it.
yeah, in old age, he has sort of gained, I guess, wisdom or maturity or sincerity that he
Mhm.
didn't have before. Because, in his prime, it was just all being a smartass. He was basically the smartass kid at the back of the class, cracking wise and throwing spitballs at the teacher.
Yeah.
And that smile was a big part of it.
Mhm. I
Yeah,
don't know
he's
if
definitely, he's
you'll
definitely in the I don't need to be here sort of phase of his life. Like
Yeah.
Yeah,
I don't need to be doing any of this. I'm here, so I guess you want me. I want to be here, but I don't need this. I don't need
Yeah.
any. I don't need any of you.
I mean,
Yeah.
you watch him now. Like it's May as we're recording this, and the Indianapolis 500 is coming up next weekend, and he's a co-team owner, and he'll be around the Speedway throughout the month. And when you see him interviewed, and he's asked about the Indianapolis 500, the smile that he gives as he's talking about that is a totally different smile than that you would see him with while he was on the show, talk show, one of his talk shows. So that kind of tells me that there is a performative aspect to the smile that he had, or at least he was definitely in a different mental place than he is today. So I
Mhm.
find that interesting.
Yeah. Yeah. I think when you job for so long is to stick to the man and then you become the man and you're the man for
Right.
so long, you have to kind of soften or just change your attitude. I don't know if you this is a weird question. Is Elvis Costello on your list, Michael? At all?
No, he's not.
No? In his autobiography, Elvis Costello talks about the shape of his mouth, like, basically says, "My mouth looks like I'm about to tell somebody to fuck off," like, just the very shape of it. And so people my whole life have thought I was a punk jerk. I have gotten a lot of people who didn't like me just when they first saw me, just because of the way my face is, um, which I thought was an interesting self-observation I'd never heard anybody
Interesting.
say before. But he basically kind of said, the way my mouth naturally rests looks like I'm in the shape of an F, which I think is what people think I'm about to say, the
Funny.
Hmm.
F word. Yeah.
The person I was going to choose, my second choice, we got a lot of time. This is a quick episode, so I don't care about running long. Is Shane McGowan was going to be my
Oh,
other
okay.
choice.
Wow.
Just for someone who actually was iconic for having maybe not the prettiest smile known to mankind, maybe one of the more gruesome
Mhm.
smiles known to mankind, and about 8 years ago got dental work and had all of his teeth fixed, and now he's got a normal, it's like with the exception of he insisted one of his teeth is gold.
Hmm.
That's that he has a very normal and decent looking smile now. So
Wow.
I find that interesting.
I will have to put some pictures on this just to show that because I can't wait to Google that. Oh, it's crazy. Michael, what's the last one?
Well, this was a nice little segue into mine, and we're talking about veneer, and we're talking about like the kind of a fake personage over
Mhm.
your smile. And so my final choice is Mr. Tom Cruise,
Oh,
who
of course.
Oh,
has a very nice smile that feels like it has been worked on over the years to gotten to a point of like perfection, right? Like he's
yeah.
definitely a guy who has $1 million smile, um, because it's probably has cost a lot of money to
Right.
work on over the years, but he's the type of person, or it feels like he's the type of person. I'm not saying anything uh, slanderous here, where he has worked over 40 years in the movie industry to craft an image of who he is and what he looks like. And he's definitely someone who has like this combination of a smile that is really good, like his teeth are really good, but they're not perfect, right? A lot of his smile comes from his eyes. He's got like that kind of the smizing, thin, he's like smiling with his eyes and his mouth at the
Mhm.
same time somehow, and he's probably learned how to do that over the years. And I'm looking back at like old pictures of him. I guess he has a chip in one of his teeth that he used to wear like a cap over, that he would take out for like a role here and there, or for like the Outsiders. He would take it off so it looked like he looked more um, kind of messed up and kind of tough
Mhm.
than usual. And I don't know, he's just like one of those, you think of movie stars and you think of this idea of like you have all this money to perfect yourself, and then you think of someone um like a Will Ferrell, who has just like he's got this gargle of teeth in his mouth that they're crazy to look at. If you like, there's close-ups in like Anchorman where they're just left and right, up and down. Who knows what's going on? And like at no point has he ever fixed those. And because he hasn't had to. His job isn't like being a beautiful celebrity or a beautiful like a talent on screen. His job is to be funny. So his teeth that
Mhm.
happen to be you know go 8 different directions, it doesn't matter. It doesn't affect his certain profitability. But someone like a Tom Cruise, it definitely has that. And maybe I don't know. I don't know how much work he's done. I don't, but it feels that way. And I
Right.
think the celebrityness of him, or his personality as someone who has really well crafted himself over the years. I think a lot of it comes out in how he presents himself, and his smile is this. I think a huge part of it.
I think there's an unnaturalness,
Mm,
assuming that's a word, unnaturalness to his smile. That A makes it feel like it's something alien,
yeah,
and B makes you feel like this isn't just something that I picture him as somebody who spends a lot of time in front of a mirror practicing smiling to try and make it look as human as possible, and him getting mad at himself, going, "No, that doesn't look human enough. Try it again." And then trying to give another warm smile. "No, not good enough." And just doing that for hours on end.
Yeah, was it Night at Night the Roxbury, and there that Superstar where he's playing kind of young people, young,
mm,
kind of not ugly people. It's
yeah.
kind of disturbing to see those where his hair is straightened and he just looks just weird. It's just weird to see him look attractive in those. So, all right, so that is the Mount Rushmore of smiles. I just want to just say thank you guys for coming up with such great choices. And going up on the Mount Rushmore, let's go with Mona Lisa. Let's go with Julia Roberts. Let's go with Magic Johnson. And let's go with the correct answer, which was William Defoe. Willem
Oh,
Dafoe.
Oh,
man,
So
great.
what a handsome
coming in
looking shark.
coming in at number 4, Willem Dafoe. He was on Letterman where he's in the first Spider-Man, the second one, where he's talking about his dual roles as Norman Osborn, and maybe I've told this on the podcast before,
No,
Norman
no,
Osborn and
No.
yeah.
the Green Goblin. And he was saying the studio told him that he needed to go into makeup to get a set of teeth molded for the movie. And he was saying, "Oh, great, am I going to have some really scary Green Goblin teeth made?" And they said, "No, we need you to have some normal teeth made for Norman Osborn, so people aren't afraid of you as Norman Osborn."
Oh,
they
yeah.
wa-
So it's
they wanted
interesting. doing a quick just a quick image search for Willem Dafoe. He smiles a lot with his lips closed. He's probably someone who's so self-conscious of it. Like all these, like the first dozen or so pictures, he's just smiling at this. So he must be someone who his smile over the years, he's probably like, oh, I hate the way this looks. So that's very interesting that is the comment that they gave to him and that you're relaying as well.
Yeah, that's interesting. Okay, dudes, this has been the Mount Rushmore of Smiles. I'm always Jeff.
I'm Richard.
I'm Michael.